Live. Hello, Facebook Live. All right, good. So we are talking about essential oils tonight. Welcome. Welcome to all of you. So what I did want to know from all of you is your experience with essential oils. I want to know who I'm talking to so I can make sure you all get some benefit out of this. So how many of you are brand new to essential oils, don't really know much about it, you've heard of them, but you don't really use them or have much experience? Okay, a few of you. Okay, good. That's fine. I just want to make sure that I'm speaking at your level and I'm not going way above your head. So who's been using them on a regular basis, on a daily basis in their life for some amount of time? Okay. About another third of you. Okay. And then everybody else is somewhere in the middle, knows a little bit about them, would like to know more. Okay, good. So we'll cover the gamut tonight. We'll talk a little bit about introductory ideas, but then also how to use them on a day-to-day basis, and then our favorite uses, our favorite recipes, and I got some handouts for you that you can take home, but feel free to ask questions, and of course you have a place to take notes too on that front page, okay? So I'm Dr. Shannon Roznay, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm a chiropractor. That's the doctor part of my name. This is my business, Thrive Wellness Center. So what we do here at Thrive Wellness Center is we help people improve their health without drugs and without surgery, but through nutritional changes, through lifestyle changes and modifications. We use supplements and herbs, and I also do chiropractic. So Jessica is our other practitioner in the office. You might have met her on the way in if you didn't know her already. She's waving right now. Good. So she also does nutrition response testing and is trained the same way I am, and that is to help people improve their health naturally without drugs and surgery. That is always going to be what I tell you because that's what I believe in. So when we talk about drugs and surgery, they are basically the last resort as far as improving your health. So what we want to do is keep ourselves healthy, keep ourselves functioning well, and living a healthy life without having to utilize those kinds of chemicals. And that's one of the major ways that not only supplements and dietary changes, but essential oils come into play. Because they can help in acute emergency type situations, and they can certainly help to enhance any kind of natural wellness program. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. This little triangle that I drew is basically my approach to health and how I understand health works, and what I've been doing in a clinical setting for about 12 years now. So like I said, I'm a chiropractor. I went to school for a really long time to be a chiropractor because I wanted to help people improve their health. But when I got into practice, I realized there were some things missing. I didn't really know how to help people improve their diet. I didn't know how to help with things like cholesterol and diabetes and blood pressure. I knew how to give a really good adjustment, and people got benefit from that, but I didn't have the whole picture and the whole story. So I went back to school for a few more years, and I got trained to do something called nutrition response testing, which I'm going to talk about a little bit tonight, and I'll demonstrate for you just so you understand some of the terms I'm going to use. So what we're doing here, when someone comes into my office, is they typically have symptoms, something that they don't want to have, right? So that can be pain, fatigue, trouble sleeping, hormone problems, headaches, digestive issues. These are all major things that we see on a daily basis in the office. And usually they've been somewhere else, like they've been to a medical doctor, they've maybe been to their family doctor or even a specialist, and they haven't gotten any answers, or maybe they thought they had an answer but they didn't actually get results from the treatment that was recommended. So those are the symptoms. So people come in and they say, this is what I have going on, and sometimes it has a label on it, like a diagnosis, and sometimes it's just, I'm tired. Okay, all those qualify as symptoms, whether it's labeled or not. And so when I see someone, what I'm interested in finding out is why they have the symptom. And what we find is if you have nutritional deficiencies, so something in your body that's not there that should be. So you're lacking minerals, you're lacking B vitamins, you're lacking good fats, proteins. It can be any number of different nutrients and nutrient deficiencies that can create organ dysfunction. So basically your organs will malfunction or dysfunction. So for instance, if you don't have the right kind of B vitamins, your heart will not function properly, and then you get symptoms from that. And that can be lots of different things like fatigue, muscle cramps, chest pain, anxiety. Those are all symptoms of a B vitamin deficiency. So I'm interested in finding out which deficiency and which organ so we can correct it, and then the symptom actually goes away. So instead of taking medication to cover up the symptoms, so if somebody's tired, you can drink a bunch of caffeine or eat a bunch of sugar, right, or take a stimulant. Those are things that will cover up the symptom. They will push your body to have more energy. But it's not really fixing the underlying reason why you're tired in the first place. So that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of. So in this way, it doesn't really matter what the symptom is. If we figure out what the underlying cause is and we correct that, then the body has no reason to give you those signals any longer. So it's good. It doesn't really matter then what the label is, what the diagnosis is, or even what the symptom is, because we're going to just determine the underlying cause, which is, I think, a better way to handle situations. All right? So some of you have experienced that before in his office, and some of you haven't. But I'm going to demonstrate just really briefly what that looks like and how we do it, so that you can have an understanding going forward of what I'm talking about when I say we test for that, or I test for this, or I test for that. Okay? So Jenny's going to come on up. And I'm going to demonstrate for you how to determine which organ is malfunctioning and what nutrients she might need. So Jenny came into my office, and let's just say she was having fatigue and headaches, especially in the afternoon, wanted to lay down at her desk and have a nap. A lot of people tell me that. All right, so if that were true, what I'd be doing when I test Jenny is I'm going to use the muscles here in her shoulder as a way of measuring whether her organs are strong or weak. So I'm just going to push on her arm, and she can hold her arm up very easily because I'm not pushing very hard. And then if I were to touch her brain here, if her arm was weak when I did that, we're just testing the frontal part of her brain. So that has to do with being able to think clearly, being able to concentrate. If it's lacking any nutrients, it'll make you feel foggy. Oftentimes you'll get headaches or just feel sort of like you want to take a nap. All right, so in this is an example. Her frontal brain is fine, but when I, luckily, she's on a program, that's why. So when I touch here and her arm is weak, so we know that that area of her body is dysfunctioning. It's lacking something that it needs. It's lacking some sort of nutrient that it needs. So then I can find specifically what she needs. So in this case, I'm demonstrating with an oil, but we usually do this with supplements. So food supplements, herb supplements, homeopathics. So she holds this in her hand. If this is a thing that her brain needs to do a better job for her, if it's what she's deficient in, then when I touch here now, her arm will actually become strong. So that's her body's way of choosing or being able to communicate what will actually work to correct the deficiency. So then I don't have to guess, and she gets faster and easier results with less supplements and less time and less effort. So the way this works is really electrical. So our bodies are electrical. There's a circuit that we're forming when I'm testing her. So I'm electrical and she's electrical. So all this is doing is patching a broken circuit. So if I touch here and her arm is weak, then I can put this in here. If that's what her body needs, it'll just patch that circuit. It'll make her arm strong temporarily. Then she has to actually take that product over a period of time. So I do use this technique to test essential oils just like I do to test minerals and nutrients. Okay? So that's one of the things I'll talk to you about tonight. Thank you for that. Do I have my energy stick? Can someone throw it at me? Thanks. It might be on my desk, Jess. Sorry. So I just like to do my little toy demonstration here. I did not hand these out for Halloween, but I could have. It would have been fun. So I just want to demonstrate how the energy works and how the flow of energy works with this testing. Maybe, because I left my stick on my desk and Jessica's looking for it. And maybe she'll find it, and maybe she won't. In the meantime, we'll just stare at each other uncomfortably. Okay? All right. Good. Thank you. You're doing great. All right, good. I'll demonstrate it when she finds it, if she finds it. All right, go ahead. That's all right. Have a seat. She's got it. Suspense. Oh, he's coming. Wait, come back. All right, good. Sorry. Thank you. Sorry, we had so much stuff to put together tonight with all the essential oils that we just forgot the stick. That was my fault, because I hid it in my briefcase, probably. Okay. So this little stick here has 2 pieces of metal. It's just foil, really. And there's a battery in there. And when I touch both pieces of metal, it lights up. Okay, so if Jenny touches that, and I touch her, this way. So we're just forming a circuit. That's all we're doing there. So that's how the muscle testing works. Is there's either a complete circuit with the electrical potential that we both have, or it's a broken circuit, and then the supplement is just going to temporarily repair that. It's pretty cool, right? Do you want to play with this later? Okay. Thank you, Jenny. All right. Thanks for your patience on that. So that's just what I do here, what Jessica does here, and what we're all about. So the reason that we like essential oils and how that fits into our practice is because they're natural. They're not medication. They're certainly not even close to drugs, but they do have healing capabilities because they're made from plants. So what we know about herbs, when we take herbs or eat food that is plants, is they have healing capabilities. They have nutrition in there. They have certain components to them that are very healing to the body, and it's what our bodies run on. So essential oils are plants. They just happen to be concentrated down to get the botanicals in a more concentrated form, so you don't have to use as much of them, and they have different capabilities when they're in the form of oil than if you were just picking the plant and using the root or using the leaf, okay? So the oils that I use here in the office are Young Living oils. That is by no means the only oils on the planet. They just happen to be the ones that I know, that I like and I trust, and the ones I have the most experience with. So there's other good essential oils that exist. These just happen to be the ones that I've used, and so that's what I'll be talking about tonight, because that's sort of what I know about, okay? So I'm interested always in fixing someone's health by actually correcting the underlying causes, but I find that essential oils complement that because you can use it as a natural medicine cabinet. And one of the major things that I like about essential oils is that it can help replace unnatural things in your environment. So one of the most toxic things that we see when people come in with their health is they're being exposed to all kinds of chemicals, all kinds of toxins on a daily basis. And sometimes it's because they're working in an environment where there's lots of chemicals, but more often it's because you're slathering them on your skin, or you're spraying them into the air in your environment, you're using them as artificial cleaners, or maybe you work in an environment where that's the case. So we can always control our immediate environment, what happens in our own household, what happens with our own laundry, what happens with our own skincare. So that's what I always focus on. You can't always control what's happening out in the world at large. So you're gonna, have to walk through the airport, buy the perfume, the duty-free store. It's my least favorite part of the airport is where I have to walk from security to get to the gates, and you have to walk by the duty-free store, and there's this just plume of overpowering perfume smell. So for those of you who maybe are newer to this or haven't experienced this, the less artificial perfume you use, the more it's terrible when you do smell it. So when you take artificial fragrances out of your environment, or you're not using them on a regular basis, it becomes very offensive. So when I get on an airplane and the person next to me is wearing cologne, that's a nightmare for me, because it's very strong. It'll give me a headache. It'll make me feel sick to my stomach. It's really not very good for us. So when you're used to being exposed to those kinds of scents, really strong perfumes and colognes, most of which are derived from chemicals like petroleum. Most of them come from petroleum. So if you're buying even really expensive perfumes, oftentimes those are not actually high-end essences of flowers. Most of the time will contain a lot of chemicals, mostly in the form of byproducts of the petroleum industry. So as you might imagine, that's not really good for us to be inhaling all day long, just like you wouldn't want to inhale gasoline all day long, right? But that's basically what we're doing. So when the Axe body spray, the cologne, the perfumes, the really strong stuff, all of those things are very damaging to our health, not only to our senses, if you're not used to them, but they actually are neurotoxic, meaning that they actually harm your nerves and your neurons in your brain. If you're using them a lot or you're exposed to them a lot, you don't notice that they're that strong or that they're that bad. And the less you use them, the more you notice. Has anyone experienced that before? Where if you haven't used them and suddenly you're exposed to them, it's very overpowering. So I used to love going to Bath and Body Works. That was like when I was a kid, I was a teenager in my 20s, go to Bath and Body Works and get all like the fancy scrubs. All of that stuff is loaded with petroleum, loaded with chemicals. And a lot of those chemicals are what we call endocrine disruptors, which means they mess up your hormones. So a lot of these are targeted, unfortunately, towards women. I mean, men have they have deodorant and they have aftershave and they have maybe, shaving cream. They only have a few things that are scented, although Axe body spray is trying to change that. But in women, all of our skincare products, our beauty products, our soaps, our lotions are typically loaded with chemicals and perfumes that absolutely disrupt hormone function. So you can see why, as a natural health provider, if I'm trying to improve someone's health, balance their hormones, get them to eat well, and get all these toxins out of their diet, why I wouldn't then want them to go home and slather themselves with something with tons of chemicals and perfumes that are actually going to undo all the good work that you're doing. So then your liver has to clean all that out, and your kidneys have to clean it all out. It's not a good idea. All right. So that's where essential oils come in, because you can actually make or buy healthy skincare products that contain essential oils as the active smell, as opposed to the chemical nasties. Okay? We can also make cleaning products. We can also do air fresheners, all that. So that's really where those fit into our life as natural healthcare practitioners. So I have here on your first page, yours is pink, mine's white. So one of the major nasty chemicals that you'll see, and I can even, I can go for a walk in my neighborhood and I walk by someone's house, I know if they're doing their laundry because I can actually smell the fabric softener and the dryer sheets coming out, right? Has everyone experienced that? It's like coming out the vents into the yard. So I'm having this nice walk in nature with my dog and it's like, ugh, hits you like a ton of bricks, okay? So instead of using dryer sheets and fabric softeners, and I just listed some of the chemicals that are included in those here, many of which will irritate the upper respiratory tract, cause nervous system disorders, and carcinogen means that it's known to cause cancer. So there's lots of chemicals in those products that can be replaced very easily by either using a wet washcloth, so just a damp washcloth, or you can use wool dryer balls. That's what I typically use those because you can use them over and over again. They look like this. We have them in a 3-pack. They're just wool that's tightly all woven together. And so these make your laundry dry a little bit faster and reduce static. That's why I like them. So you just drip essential oil onto these, a few drops on each ball, or you can put it on a wet washcloth, a damp washcloth, in the dryer, and that will totally replace your fabric softener and your dryer sheets because it'll make everything smell fantastic. It'll reduce static and electricity and soften your clothes, especially the dryer balls will. So it doesn't matter what scent you use, it's whichever scent you like. So typical ones that people love are lavender because it has a sort of a nice light scent. It's not too florally. Jessica just told me this week that she's been using Purification oil, which is a blend with lots of citrus scents, and she said that that's really been turning out great. Her laundry's smelling fantastic with that. So it's really whatever you like and whatever you prefer. But those are some of our favorites. The second one here says perfume and cologne are known to be neurotoxic. We just mentioned that. And are overwhelming to the nervous system. In addition to this, they cause breathing issues in children and asthmatics. So when you go, if you ever have anybody, I hope that you don't, but if they ever have a baby in the NICU, right, the neonatal intensive care unit, you're not allowed to wear perfume in there. You can wear perfume anywhere else in the hospital, but you can't wear it in the NICU. So it depends on the section you're in. They do try to get you not to wear perfumes. The reason they don't want you to wear perfumes is because it is an irritant to the respiratory tract of those newborns. So technically you're not supposed to wear it anywhere, but people kind of get away with it because they either don't know or they don't actually understand that what they're wearing is very scented. So our office is a scent-free office. Of course, not with the essential oils. We do those. But as far as colognes and perfumes, we ask people not to wear those things because they are... We have a lot of people, especially asthmatics and people with chemical sensitivities, that will absolutely go into an asthma attack or have a reaction just walking into an office where someone else has a cologne or a perfume on, or going through the airport by the duty-free store. So definitely a better way to do that. If you want to freshen your home, we have some specific recipes in here, but one of the easiest ways to freshen your home is to use a diffuser. So the diffuser, we have it up here. I'll hold it up. This one changes color, goes from all different colors. It's just plugged in. It's got a few drops of essential oil in water. And diffuse just means to make something into tiny particles, basically. So and then diffuses throughout the air. So that's what this diffuser is. So it's diffusing the scent all day long. We keep this up at the front desk just to keep things fresh. So you can put whatever scents you like in there, one or a combination of scents, and then that will freshen a pretty large area. So I use those at home and kind of move them from room to room. You can use them therapeutically too for different conditions, which I'll talk about in a moment. But if you just wanted to freshen the air, that's a good way. The other thing we have here is we have a recipe for you, basically like Febreze. So instead of using Febreze, I take a glass bottle. So any of the recipes that I'm going to recommend for you, if you're going to mix up a batch of something to use as a cleaner or an air freshener, you're going to want to use ideally a glass bottle. Amazon's a great resource for that. Jenny's got a couple examples here. We just get ours on Amazon. They got the nice spray top. Essential oils are strong, so they will degrade plastic bottles. So you don't want to put them in a plastic spray bottle because you're going to be absorbing some of that plastic and it's going to actually break down over time. So it's better to use glass. And then we just mix it with some different liquids. So in this one recipe that I have, the fabric spray, you do a tablespoon of baking soda, 20 drops of lavender or whatever scent you would like. I happen to like lavender. And then you fill the rest of the bottle up with water. And then you just shake it up before you use it. And I use that to freshen, I have a dog, so I freshen her dog bed. I spray all the carpet, all the couches, anything that's a fabric surface before I vacuum. And it freshens up everything, so nothing smells perfumey or chemically, but also everything's clean. You can certainly use baking soda alone if you wanted to do it, if you had like really nasty carpet or you wanted to, really deodorize carpet, you can use baking soda, put the oil directly into that, and then sprinkle the baking soda similar to like you would a fabric refresher, like a carpet, what do they call that stuff? Carpet fresh, yeah. Like similar to a carpet fresh. So you can do that if you want to do more concentrated. But for me, it's not something I worry about rinsing. It's not going to leave a residue. I just put that little bit of baking soda in there to absorb the odors, and it works really, really well. You can certainly use that on fabric as well. So if you had something that had been hanging in the closet for a while and you wanted to freshen that up, you could spray it down with that as well. And then if you want to wear, instead of using perfume and cologne, if you wanted to wear a nice scent so that, you smell nice to people around you but aren't poisoning yourself or others, then you can certainly dab essential oil directly on your wrists and on your neck. We have diffuser jewelry that we have, so there's necklaces and bracelets, so you can put a drop in the necklace or a drop on the bracelet so that kind of diffuses on your person all day long. Or you can use a little roller ball. So again, we get those on Amazon, but there's a little applicator with a ball on the end. Then you can put whatever oil you like into that and then roll it on your wrists. You can dilute it with another type of oil or not. You can use it straight. It gets a little more expensive if you're using it straight out of the roller ball, so most people will dilute it with a carrier oil, we call it, so that would be just a high quality oil that you put together with that. Most oils can be used directly on the skin, but a lot of them, if they're stronger oils, if you have very sensitive skin, then you're going to want to dilute them a little bit with either olive oil, coconut oil. There's lots of carrier oils, almond oil, lots of different things you can use. It just depends on what you do best with and frankly what you have on hand. If you have some good quality plain oil, jojoba oil. So you can mix drops with that and rub it on just to dilute it. You don't use water. If you're going to put it on your skin, you're not going to use water to dilute it on your skin because it actually does not dilute it. It actually usually makes it stronger. So you use oil and that will actually spread it out and keep you from, if it's burning your skin. Like I said, most of the oils that we use won't be burning. They'll be very easily, especially lavender, things like that. They're very mild. They can go right on your skin. The other thing I said on here, just to be really simple, especially when I go on trips. So if I go to hotels, if I'm traveling, I take a little spray bottle to spray down the bed. So I use Purification oil because it repels bugs, and it helps with mold. So if you get to a hotel room, I travel to Florida a lot. So you get to Florida, you got the potential for cockroaches because anywhere south of the Mason-Dixon line, forget it. And then you've got a lot of mold because there's a lot of moisture down there in the south. So I always take Purification oil in water in a little spray bottle and I spray down the whole bed. And then I've been on trips before where when you turn on the air conditioner, it smells moldy, like you can smell the mold. So in that case, just take a cotton ball or a piece of, you could use any piece of fabric, you could use a washcloth, and just put Purification oil on that and set it on top of the register, and that's completely handled the problem. Actually, we were traveling overseas, 6 years ago, and I just happened to have Purification. This was I was brand new to oils. I didn't know anything about it, but I threw it in the bag. And we got to the hotel. It was in Italy, Venice, and so of course it's moldy in Venice. Turned it on, and my husband and my brother-in-law instantly just stuffed up. They just couldn't breathe. They're like, "Oh no, turn it off!" But it was also 95 degrees, so we wanted to have the air conditioner on. So the compromise was we put a little bit of Purification on a cotton ball and just set it on the air conditioner, and it worked within 5 minutes. They both said that they could tell a difference. So that got my attention. Actually, I thought, oh, there's something to this. I should be carrying this all the time I'm traveling. So I love it for mold. I love it for spiders, bugs, anything like that. Anything to just kind of freshen up. So Purification meaning it purifies and cleanses the air. I always am putting a drop in the bottom of my garbage pail. So I pull out the garbage, a couple drops of essential oil, either lemon oil, Purification oil, whatever you like, in the bottom before you put it in the next garbage can, because it'll just freshen up all that. Instead of buying scented garbage bags, which they sell, which I've accidentally bought before and then had to throw away because I was like, what is that smell in my house? Oh yeah, it's scented garbage bags, right? Which is not the, they're not using essential oils, by the way. Glad does not use essential oils. Okay. And then the third thing on this sheet is disinfectants. So Lysol and Clorox, they have nasty chemicals, of course, just like we've already talked about. We know they're nasty, right? Because you don't want to use them in a closed space. You want to open the windows. If you breathe them in, you don't feel very well. You get a little woozy. So in lieu of that, we use Thieves is one of the favorite oils that will actually disinfect and kill germs and kill bugs. But so will tea tree oil, which is also called melaleuca, rosemary oil, eucalyptus oil. These are all antibacterial. So one of the things that is a problem in our environment these days is that we're overusing antibacterial items like antibacterial soaps, Clorox, Lysol, things like that. And so what we've created are bugs that are resistant to antibacterial things and antibiotics. So you hear about these infections at hospitals that are resistant to antibiotics. One of the reasons for that is the overuse of antibiotics in animal feed, antibiotics in the hospitals, but also too much antibacterial soap. So we're actually killing only a portion of the bacteria, and then the ones that are left over are the really strong ones, and then they grow and they make babies, and then now you have a problem because now you can't kill them the usual way. So the solution to that is to use essential oils. That will kill the strong bugs, and it doesn't cause this other problem where they're actually, mutating and creating a worse environment. So that's one of the reasons that I would highly recommend using that. And you can use it also to disinfect your hands. So there's Thieves hand soap. You can make it into, put it with your favorite plain soap. They sell Thieves hand soap, but you can make your own as well. That's a great way. That's what I use for hand sanitizer all through flu season, because it's absolutely known to kill bugs, bacteria, viruses, fungus, all of that. And there's lots of research and studies that have been done on its effectiveness, particularly Thieves, but there's others as well. I'm going to pass some of these around just for some of you if you haven't smelled them before. All right, so this one's Purification. This is the one I was talking about. This is my favorite one for killing mold, kind of disinfecting. It has a nice citrusy scent. So we'll just pass it around. When it gets to the back, you can just set it up on the counter. So if you haven't smelled it before, I want you to be able to experience it. And then we have other samples in the back. This is just a few examples, all right? So I'll pass around Stress Away. So Stress Away is a blend. So blended oils are blended together to achieve a specific purpose, right? So Stress Away, you can probably guess what that's for, yeah? So this is to manage your stressful life. So people use this if they're having headaches, if they're feeling stressed during the day to sort of calm them. They use it before exams so they can focus and have better concentration. And they use it at nighttime to go to sleep if they're having any trouble falling asleep. So those are all examples of how you could use Stress Away. And again, that's a blend. There you go, darling. The next one I'm going to pass around is called Pan Away. So one of the things that I deal with a lot here in the office is pain. So that's a symptom, right? So people come into my office, oftentimes they have pain. So if it's joint pain, muscle pain, head pain even, Pan Away is a great blend. It's quite strong because it's got a lot of mint in it, so it's very strong. Wintergreen is one of the main ingredients. So you don't want to put it close to your eyes because it'll burn a little bit. You can use it straight. You don't have to dilute it, but you can dilute it. So I have people rub this on pain areas. So if they have back pain, neck pain, knee pain, muscle pain, anything like that, this works very well for that. So again, just a safer way to manage things. So you don't have to take an aspirin. You don't have to take an ibuprofen. The idea is to keep those types of chemicals at a minimum in our bodies, right? I'll pass around Lavender. Lavender is the very mild scent. It's really one of the milder scents. Most people enjoy it, although I've met a few that don't. All right. And then I'll pass around just straight peppermint. So peppermint, again, is great for headaches. So people love mint for headaches or head pain if you're getting a lot of stress. But it's also great for digestion. So if you have upset stomach, nausea, any kind of irritation in the stomach area, you can apply it topically over the stomach. You can apply it on your hands and smell it. Or you can actually put a drop on your tongue. So you can use it as a natural breath enhancer. and it does help with digestive function. So it'll calm down nausea, upset stomach very quickly. So just concentrated peppermint. And then last but not least, I'll pass around Thieves. So Thieves is a blend. Again, this is the one I was mentioning. So this has a lot of antibacterial qualities to it. It's very popular this time of year because it has a nice warm scent, because it's got clove and cinnamon, so it smells sort of like fall. But it's great during flu season. It's absolutely essential. I have lots of people that swear that putting a couple of drops of Thieves on the bottom of their feet before they go to bed is absolutely why they don't get sick during the winter. So, and certainly you can diffuse it. You can use it, like I said, in hand soaps. There's a great couple of recipes on your cleaner sheet here that uses Thieves not only as a multi-purpose spray, but as a disinfecting spray. So on here where it says, anywhere it says vinegar, we're talking about white vinegar. So you're going to be using white vinegar, not apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar for eating and drinking and stomach stuff, and otherwise we're using just plain white vinegar to mix. And again, in a glass bottle, ideally. So you've got a multi-purpose spray where you can mix several different oils. Lemon oil is wonderful. It's very astringent, which means that it will take glue, like if you have a sticker that won't come off of something, or you have gum stuck somewhere, lemon oil will take it off instead of using whatever nasty chemical they sell at the store for that, or an ice cube. If the ice cube doesn't work, then lemon oil is next, okay? But it's also, because of that, it's really good for cleaning countertops. It's really good for cleaning windows because it has that sort of astringent type quality. So you can make up some different sprays with lemon oil. That's another option for that. The fabric spray recipe is on here. And then there's one for the disinfecting spray. That's just Thieves and vinegar. So I use that throughout, you know, bathroom sink, toilet, floors, kitchen sink, all of that. Works great. And it smells amazing. So that's a bonus, right? All right. And then the third page that you have, third full page that you have, just lists some of the oils that I've already mentioned and some of our favorite uses for them. So for lavender, lavender is very calming. It has so many uses. It's probably one of the most versatile oils. So I always have lavender. I have lavender pretty much in every room of my house because I use it for all kinds of things. So I'll tell you what's on here, and then I'll tell you some other things that I use it for. So you can certainly put it on your wrists before bed for restful sleep. You can also rub it on the bottom of your feet. That's another way to get it delivered into the system. Just a few drops directly on the skin. It's great for skin irritations and burns. So I actually had one time where I cut a hot pepper. I didn't realize it was a hot pepper because I got fooled. It was from the farm, and I just thought it was a regular pepper. And then after I cut it, I realized, oh, that was a jalapeno pepper, or some sort of hot pepper. And so my skin was burning. My whole hand was just on fire. That feeling that you get when it's got the pepper juice on there. And so I just took lavender. I put about 5 drops of lavender on my hand, and it instantly took the burn away. And I had to reapply it about every 15 minutes for a couple of hours because it was really pretty potent. But then it was totally gone, and you know, by the next day I didn't have any kind of redness, no swelling, no irritation. And I mean, I've had that happen before with hot pepper where it lasted a couple of days, you know, where it was burning still. So it took it away very quickly, and it will work. I mean, you wouldn't want to do it on a 3rd-degree burn or something, but we're talking, you know, mild sunburn. If you burn yourself on the stove, definitely apply lavender right away. It's also excellent for bug bites. So any kind of like mosquito bite, any kind of bug bite, you can put lavender directly on that. That works very well.
Bee sting?
Bee sting would be good. I probably would put Purification on a bee sting, personally. But you could try lavender, or you could just do both. In that instance, that's what's great about these. You only need a drop or 2. So if you have, you know, a few oils on hand, when something like this, an emergency comes up, you can just put a couple of drops on there. You're not going to hurt it, and it's likely going to help. So when in doubt, I would throw both of them on there. So the Thieves blend here, again, it has clove, lemon, cinnamon, eucalyptus, and rosemary in it. So you can diffuse in the room, and that will sanitize and kill bacteria and odors. You can put a drop in hot tea or hot water to drink, like Thieves tea. And it's excellent for toothaches. So clove is actually something that dentists use for tooth pain. They use it for toothaches and tooth pain. So I've had people say, oh, my dentist recommended I use clove. So we sell clove on its own, but if you aren't prone to toothaches and you happen to get one, Thieves will work just fine because it has the clove in it. Okay.
Use for mouthwash too?
And for mouthwash, absolutely, yep. So you can dilute it with a little bit of, you could put it with coconut oil, you can put it, we actually have a recipe for toothpaste in there, but you could use it in toothpaste and certainly as a mouthwash, yeah. And Purification blend, again, these are the things that I already talked to you about. And it does work pretty well as a mosquito repellent too, so you can kind of dilute it and spray it on. Mosquitoes are tough. Honestly, you know, Michigan mosquitoes, I personally have not found an essential oil blend that's quite tough enough for all Michigan mosquitoes, but it's pretty good, and it's certainly better than covering yourself in DEET, which is, you know, terrible for you, right? So I endure a couple of mosquito bites and put lavender on them once they happen, but using Purification or a blend like that does really help. Lemon. Another use for lemon oil, you can put it with your veggies in the sink. So you fill up your sink with water, put in your vegetables in a couple of drops. It'll kill bugs that are living on the vegetables. It'll also just help to kind of wash off any residue of pesticides or anything that might be on there. Ideally, you want to buy organic vegetables. However, even organic vegetables have some residue of chemicals on them because it's in our atmosphere, unfortunately.
How long do you need to let it sit in the water?
I usually let it sit 20 or 30 minutes before I rinse it. Yeah, you don't have to rinse it. I do, just because otherwise it does leave a little bit of lemon flavor on your salad greens, but you wouldn't technically have to. But yeah, 20-30 minutes should do the trick. Peppermint, we already talked about headaches. It's excellent for sinus congestion as well. And then Pan Away, we talked about pain relief anywhere. You can apply it straight, or you can dilute it 1-for-1 with a different plain oil. Okay, so those are our favorite ways to use it and some favorite recipes for you. You also have a recipe for how to make your own toothpaste and a recipe for how to make your own toner. I believe we stuck those in there. Do you have those? Yes, they're on half sheets of paper. Good. So we just wanted to share with you all our favorite ways to use that. And like I said, you know, there's an infinite number of ways to use essential oils, and these are just the basic ones, the ones that we use most frequently, and then we have lots and lots of results with. Now, one of the reasons that I like them, again, is mostly because they can replace all the nasty stuff that you're getting at the drugstore or the grocery store. So replace your cleaners, replacing your skincare products, replacing your colognes and your air fresheners. I mean, that's a huge step in the right direction for improving your overall health. Because, like I said, one of the major things that we see in our office is toxicities. So accumulation of chemicals, accumulation of toxins from the environment. So any amount that you can minimize that is going to put you that much closer to improving your health and having optimal health. So it's definitely a worthwhile thing. So if it's overwhelming and you are just sort of getting started on what the heck am I going to do with all this information, just pick a couple of things. So pick, you know, if you always use dryer sheets, just try to replace your dryer sheets. Kind of start there. If you're always using, you know, Clorox or bathroom cleaner like that, just try to make your own bathroom cleaner out of the Thieves and start with that. So just replace a couple things at a time, and you'll see a difference. And you know, I don't know, for me, I'm always interested in things that work. So I've tried lots of natural cleaners over the years, things that you buy at the store that are lesser chemicals and lesser evil, but that still have a certain amount of chemical components to them. And a lot of them don't even work that great. So, you know, you're spending twice as much because it's an organic cleaner, and then you get it home and you're like, you know, didn't really do the job. So I'm a big fan of, if I can do that for even less money that actually get a better result. That's why we like the cleaners. That's why we like using the essential oils for that. Okay. Yes, ma'am?
If you have trouble sleeping, diffuse.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's one of the major
It's
uses for the diffuser. Yes, thank you. Sleeping, so if you have any trouble sleeping, lavender is very calming, frankincense is calming, cedar wood is calming, and there's lots of different ones that are calming. I have a couple of books too, if anybody wants to look through them, you're welcome to do that if you're looking to help with a specific condition. And then the other thing we use for diffusing is if you're congested, if your kids have a cough. RC oil is a blend that I recommend a lot from Young Living. And RC oil is fantastic for respiratory issues. So I had a patient who she could not get her lungs. I mean, we were working on her lungs for weeks trying to get them cleared because she just got this nasty infection. And the thing that finally broke us through the other side was I recommended RC oil. I tested her for it. So when I recommend oils clinically, I mean, I'm recommending these generally to you because I know they work for certain things, but when I'm using oils, I'm using them with the muscle testing and I'm finding out, okay, what specifically for this specific condition can we use the oil for? Like fungally toenails, there's at least 4 different oils I've used for fungal toenails. So I check the fungal toenail with the oil and I figure out which oil is going to work for you as an individual. So for me, I like that because it helps me sort out. Because if you look in the book, it'll say, you know, if you have this problem, this is true for supplements too, by the way. Like if I was just operating out of a book and I said, oh, I have insomnia, what supplements should I take? There's like 30, right? Who wants to take 30 different things? You don't know if it's going to work. That's why I do muscle testing. So I do the same thing with oils. You open up oils and it says calming, and then it has 50. You're like, oh, okay, you know. So then I can test and see which one will work best for the individual. But the one lady, I'll get to in just a second. The one lady that had the lung issue, the RC oil for her, she started diffusing that at work and at home. And that really helped her overcome her lung issues. I've used it for a lot of children who are asthmatic, having issues with breathing, whether they're sick or not. It really helps to break that up.
I was just wondering what your favorite book is.
Oh, my favorite book? I actually, right now, I have a couple of favorite books. I think they're both up here. Let me see. Where's my other one? I'll find it for you. It's floating around here somewhere, but it's just a guide to essential oils. So it's broken down by oil, and then it's broken down by category of concern as well. So you can look up the oil, and it'll tell you everything the oil does, or you can look up the condition, and it'll tell you everything that you might want to test. So I use that as a guide to test, you know, which ones I should be checking. Because I don't know all the oils. I'm not an expert on all, because there's so many essential oils. So I know the ones I'm teaching you and what I like them for, but then I've used some others that are really great. So yeah, fungal toenails, absolutely. Yeah, so there's a Young Living catalog back here, which you're welcome to look through as well. That'll detail all the different oils that exist. And then I have another book that's written by Dr. Axe, and he goes through, he has his own line of essential oils, but he's really breaking it down by oil and what the oils are good for, what they've historically been used for. So that's a good one as well. That one's new, so I haven't spent as much time on it, but it's good. Okay? Any other questions so far? Yes.
If you get a stuffy nose from oils, does that mean you're using too much, or that is just a bad one for you?
If you get a stuffy nose from an oil, does it mean you're using too much, or is it just not the right one for you? It could mean either thing. Certainly, it depends on what you're using it for. If you're using it for sinuses, and it caused those to be worse, then I would say it's probably the wrong oil. I've had over the years where people say, you know, if I use something like this if I use a certain oil in my environment, I get a runny nose, or I get some sort of skin reaction. So sometimes it's a detox reaction where it's actually creating a change in the body, and that's the symptom that you're getting from it. I don't have a definitive answer in that regard. I would be testing for it, and I would be seeing, like, do you test for that oil? So it probably could be either answer.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yes. Does somebody else have a question? I thought I saw it. No, I missed you. Yes, ma'am.
Is there an oil that you can put on pets to repel ticks and fleas?
Yeah, oils for repelling ticks and fleas in pets. So Purification would be a good one. I would add cedar wood to that as well, because cedar wood's really, you know, if you look at most of the natural tick sprays, they're going to be cedar, and then they're going to have a combination citrus, citronella, that kind of thing. So I would use Purification and cedar wood together. Yeah, great application for pets, because the flea and tick stuff that they use for pets is totally toxic. I mean, pets die from that, have seizures, all kinds of terrible issues. Yes, ma'am.
Are there any oils that are known to not be good for animals?
Any oils that are known not to be good for animals? I'm confident that there are. Yeah, I don't know them. I certainly don't have them memorized. I've heard vets tell me both ways. I've heard them tell me that if the animal acts like they don't like it, that's the one for them. And then I've had them tell me if they act like they really like it, that's the one for them. So again, I would be testing for them. In my experience, my dog hates all oils because I'm poking at her and she doesn't like that. But most of the time, like she will tolerate some more than others. So I usually go with the tolerance. So there's none that I know for sure that you absolutely cannot use. Were you gonna add to that, Sue?
I am. Grapeseed oil is toxic to dogs. and
Grapeseed.
Thieves is not, or not thieves, I'm sorry, thieves is good for them. The tea tree oil is not good for
Tea
them.
tree, okay, good. So tea tree would be no. Grapeseed would be more like a carrier oil, right? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really bad for dogs.
Okay, yeah. And there's some evidence that, you don't want to feed them like avocado oil, that kind of thing. So I usually stick with coconut oil if you're gonna, use an oil on a dog. But usually if she tolerates it well and she doesn't seem to mind it, then that's the one that I'll go with. Like if we put lavender anywhere, she's like gone. Poor thing, I spray her bed down with it all the time. She loves it. She's like, oh no. But I can put frankincense on her and she doesn't mind it at all. But if I bring out the lavender, she's like running. So that's one good way you can do it if you can't muscle test them. And no tea tree. Thank you. Yes.
I have another question. I read lavender is not good for people who are autoimmune. Have you ever heard that?
I have heard that. So the question was, is lavender good if someone has an autoimmune condition? There's some new research, and this is just like anything else in the world of research. It's like, well, is it or isn't it? My opinion is that there's lots of things that aren't good for some people. Whether or not it's because they have a certain condition or not is the question. So I know what you're talking about. It's also been, it's not good for men for certain reasons. I've seen that too. Again, it's something that I'm usually just testing the individual person, because in my experience and clinical opinion, usually if something's not good for someone, it's not like the whole group of people that it's not good for. It's not good for certain individuals. So.
Well, I read that it actually produces an estrogen response.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking
Yeah.
about, like for the men. So I haven't seen that play out clinically. I've read some of the research. I know what you're talking about.
Mhm.
So it would be one of those things where if you had any concern about it, or if you weren't sure about a specific condition, I would just stay away from it. There's a lot of other good oils that you can use. I don't think the research is definitive on that just yet. So kind of remains to be seen. I know what you're talking about though.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, good. All right, Jenny, you can turn off the phone if you want. Good. We'll end off. Do you want to turn off Facebook Live for me? Thank you. All right, good. Bye, guys. I've been ignoring them.